Hey everybody, it's Chise here. This video is going to be quite different from anything I've ever made and uploaded to this channel before, but it is a very important video nonetheless. I ask that if you are familiar with this situation that you watch through the entire video and listen to everything I have to say. Now, some of you may be a bit confused. For those who don't know, the situation I am referring to is what happened on Twitter on the 5th of April, where people made allegations against a popular artist known as Columbo. Columbo objectively has amazing skills with art and is very talented. I mean, look at this stuff. He is very popular in the Attack on Titan fandom, but more specifically with those who ship Commander Erwin and Captain Levi. As of writing this script, Columbo sits at roughly 238.5 thousand followers on his main account and 144.8 thousand on his alternate account. He is very popular. But of course, when anyone gains any sort of significant following online, there will be those who wish to take them down for no reason. That's where this situation comes into play. Trigger warnings for mentions of death threats and pedophilia. On the 5th of April 2021, several people made allegations against Columbo on Twitter. The allegations made against him were 1. Columbo is lesbophobic. 2. Columbo fetishizes MLM relationships. 3. Columbo is a pro-shipper. 4. Columbo drew pedophilic art. 5. Columbo refuses to use trigger warnings. And 6. Columbo puts minors in danger by allowing them to follow his 18+ account. These are the main accusations that were brought up against Columbo. Personally, I only saw one thread that had screenshots as evidence for the allegations ever come up in my feed. However, that thread has since been deleted as the person who posted it was receiving death threats and other forms of harassment. Before we move forward, I must absolutely stress that harassing anyone in this situation is not okay. You can most certainly criticize those who are in the wrong, but you should not go out and harass them, as that doesn't make you any better than the accusers. No one deserves to be harassed. Now let's move on to discussing the allegations mentioned above. And I'm basing these off of the thread Columbo made in defense of himself, as the original thread of allegations was deleted. Columbo's defense thread will be linked in the description below. The first allegation: Columbo is lesbophobic. This one is on the less serious side, but should definitely still be addressed. This allegation comes from the time when Columbo made a tweet that said, "Attack on Titan has some pretty shocking moments, but nothing scares me more than a lesbian getting pregnant." It is pretty well known within the AOT fandom that Historia is a lesbian, or at the very least is coded to be as such. In this tweet, Columbo isn't saying that he thinks lesbians shouldn't be able to have kids or something like that. That would be wrong. What Columbo is talking about here is certain situations where pregnancy is forced onto lesbians because of certain circumstances. I can see where people might have mistook the wording, but the truth is that this is not a lesbophobic comment and was misunderstood. Based on what we know in Attack on Titan, it is very likely, almost certain, that Historia was forced to have a child. She looked absolutely miserable when we saw her in Season 4, and she'd always said she'd wanted to live for herself in the past. You can't really do that with a child that you have to raise and pay a ton of attention to. That's what Columbo was referencing in the comment he made. He wasn't doing it out of prejudice for lesbians. He was just mentioning how it's scary and shocking that a lesbian was likely forced to get pregnant. The second allegation: Columbo fetishizes MLM relationships. This one is weird for several reasons. As Columbo said himself in his defense thread, there are plenty of gay men who follow him and enjoy his art as much as everyone else in his audience. Columbo also says that people act like NSFW content is all he posts on his side account. And I mean, of course he does occasionally draw NSFW content, but it's fairly rare. Most of Columbo's art is just normal fluffy ship art between Attack on Titan characters. He just doesn't really draw NSFW art that often. Columbo also says that he doesn't post everything he draws, which I definitely believe because I don't either. No artist posts absolutely every single thing they draw online. There's plenty of sketches and other unfinished stuff I just have sitting in my sketchbooks to never be seen by anyone. Added on to this is that Columbo does not only draw gay relationships. Sure, he draws a lot of them, but he's also drawn straight and lesbian ships too, such as Eren and Mikasa, for example. And another thing that's more of my own personal thought, Columbo doesn't ever say much of anything in his captions when posting his art. He mostly just uses hashtags or emojis related to what he drew. Maybe if in his captions Columbo had said something sexual or something similar, then maybe this claim would have held some water, but that's not what's happening. There is no solid evidence that Columbo fetishizes MLM relationships. All Columbo does is draw art of ships he enjoys. That's it. He doesn't do or say anything that shows he sexualizes these ships because they're gay. He doesn't even really sexualize them that often because, like I said earlier, he doesn't even draw NSFW art that often. Add another check to the list of stupid claims that hold no water. The third allegation: Columbo is a pro shipper. Alright, so this might be a bit confusing for those who don't know what this word means, and quite honestly, I don't even think I fully know what it means myself, which is why this is a weird allegation. From my understanding, people commonly use the word pro shipper to describe other people who are okay with shipping ships that involve pedophilia, such as those who ship Aaron and Levi. That's all I've ever personally heard from others, but it seems that the definition isn't really as narrow as it sounds. Columbo mentions in his defense thread that he's been in other fandoms where people draw explicit art of characters who are minors, but that he stands against it and doesn't want to be associated with that kind of content. So, based on this, Columbo himself is not a pro shipper. The other side to this allegation is those who are saying that Columbo supports a pro shipper, and this claim, like everything else, is taken out of context. There was an artist who was likely drawing explicit art of minor characters from My Hero Academia, but when doing so, they aged the characters up. Now, I personally think that that's still a bit weird, but it's not like this artist was straight up drawing cartoon CP. And apparently, this artist was getting harassed because of the art they drew and had people trying to hack into their account. Columbo commented on a tweet this artist made where he also stated that he had experiences with people trying to hack into his accounts as well. He told them to, quote, take care and to secure their account against losers. That's not Columbo supporting the semi-problematic art of this artist. This is Columbo telling someone to do their best to keep their account safe from people who were trying to hack it. The fourth allegation: Columbo drew pedophilic art. This is a blatant lie. This claim stems from the time that Columbo participated in an art trend where people were drawing Levi and Erwin from Attack on Titan. The trend had artists drawing Erwin as a child while Levi was an adult maid. Of course, some artists who participated in this trend sexualized the idea, and that is disgusting, but that is not what Columbo did. Here's the art Columbo drew for this trend. Sure, this art is kind of violent, but so is the trend as a whole. More on that in a minute. But Columbo just simply drew Levi in a maid outfit and Erwin as a child. There is literally nothing sexual about this artwork. Where did people even get this idea? Make it make sense, please. Anyways, another thing about this allegation is that before Columbo even drew this art, he put out a tweet asking what the trend was all about because he wanted to participate, but also wanted to make sure it was something he'd be comfortable with. Someone responded and told him that they believe that this art trend originated from an anime/manga called Black Lagoon. Apparently, there is a maid character in the story who resembles Levi and also has a young blonde boy to look after. This makes sense, as that's what most of the art of Levi and Erwin in this trend is about. Levi as a maid protecting Erwin as a child. Despite some artists who draw sexual art of this trend, the trend itself is not inherently sexual, and Columbo did not sexualize Erwin and Levi in his art. This claim infuriates me the most out of all of them because it's the most blatant of lies. You can take one look at the art and clearly tell it is not sexual. The fifth allegation: Columbo refuses to use trigger warnings. For this point, I'm just going to quote Columbo from his defense thread because he says it better than I ever could. When there's a real war happening that people are dying from, either by bombings or starvation caused directly by your country and your government colonizing poor Middle Eastern countries, I will speak about it openly no matter how uncomfortable it makes you. Because my people in the Middle East have been eating shit since we were in diapers. No person who escaped the conflict wants a trigger warning. Do not speak on their behalf. They would love for the world to hear about their issues and the devastation their countries suffered from. The sixth allegation: Columbo puts minors in danger by allowing them to follow his 18-plus account. This is easily another one of the stupidest claims and is also a blatant lie. It makes me just as mad as the claim about the Levi and Irwin art allegation. For one, Columbo very often says that if you are a minor, you should not be following his alternate account. I've seen him say this countless times. Columbo will occasionally post NSFW art on his side account, so he does not want minors following him. And if you had eyes, you'd be able to see that Columbo has an emoji with the number 18 crossed out, as well as a message of emojis in his bio telling those under the age of 18 that his account is not for them. How could anyone think Columbo wants minors to follow his account, or he doesn't care if they do? The original thread I saw with the allegation said something along the lines of Columbo doesn't do anything to rid his account of the minors who follow him. I'm sorry, what the fuck do you expect him to do? How is Columbo supposed to make sure people who are underage don't follow his account? People lie about their ages all the time online, and Columbo can't control that. He can't control if minors ignore his warnings and follow his account anyways. All Columbo can really do is advise against minors following his account because he cannot fully stop them from following him or get them to stop following him after he learns that they are a minor. If minors follow Columbo's side account and see some NSFW art that upsets them, then that is on the minors, not Columbo. Columbo puts out plenty of warnings that underage people should not follow his account because he will sometimes post NSFW artwork. God, how stupid do you have to be to believe this ridiculous claim? I didn't even believe it when I originally agreed with the allegations. Seriously. Now, those are all the allegations that I saw being talked about on Twitter. God, why? Why would you try to cancel someone as unproblematic as Columbo? Columbo has literally done nothing wrong, which is proven by the fact that the people who made the original allegations basically had to make shit up and provided the weakest possible evidence to back up their false claims. This entire situation is infuriating and disappointing. So many people blindly believe these allegations without taking a step back to look at the evidence and say, maybe we should rethink this. There were so many people I thought I could trust making and spreading these claims, and now how am I supposed to trust anyone on Twitter anymore? But trust me when I say that the person I am disappointed in the most in this situation, it is myself. When these allegations first surfaced, I was one of the many people who blindly believed them. And the worst part is that when I was first looking at the allegations and looking at the screenshots provided by the accusers, there was a voice screaming at me in the back of my mind that the claims were weak and taken way out of context, that the evidence wasn't real evidence. But I ignored that voice of reason and chose to believe people I thought were my friends over the truth. What makes this even worse is that I also did this to protect my own reputation. I've been trying to make friends and integrate myself into Attack on Titan Twitter, specifically the Aruri side of things. So when I saw that these allegations were surfacing, I decided to try and protect my own reputation in the eyes of people I was trying to become friends with. And in doing so, I spread the claims that instead damaged Columbo's reputation. I cannot tell you all how ashamed I am of myself for doing this. I deeply regret choosing to believe other people I wanted to trust over the truth, and I don't know if I could ever fully forgive myself. I even reached out to Columbo on an alternate account of mine after he rightfully blocked me because I realized how poor the allegations were, how selfishly I had acted, and I knew I had to apologize. And to Columbo, I'm still so sorry for helping to spread the false allegations that damage your reputation. You said you forgave me, and I'm glad, but I still feel incredibly guilty. You're someone I look up to as a fellow artist, and I selfishly chose to believe things about you that were taken way out of context and completely made up. You're someone I look up to, but I still hurt you with my actions. Columbo, I am so sorry. In the future, when similar situations come up, I will definitely make sure to look at the entirety of the situation and evidence a lot closer instead of taking them at face value. I realize that now I need to learn not to trust people right away and that I should always look at evidence and form my own opinion. Blindly trusting others is not the right way to go and is quite dangerous, so I will be making an effort not to do this from now on. And now, the last part of this video. After I reached out to Columbo to apologize, I informed him that I would be making this video and asked him for a statement on the situation and how he felt about everything. This is what he told me. I'm uncertain if I could add anything to the conversation that hasn't been said already, but my personal feelings about this topic are these. It's been building up for a while. I first noticed them getting angry at my followers for harmless things such as using my art as a PFP, then their tweets started to get more and more aggressive. They made tweets saying that the people who liked me or looked up to me are weirdly obsessed. They started attacking those who made tweets saying nice or positive things about me. At that point, I already knew that many people disliked me for different reasons and that it wasn't because of something I did. It was completely out of my control. I'm certain that the whole situation was born out of jealousy and that they were just looking for this gotcha moment. They found it when I defended my friend, who I still stand by. My opinions about the topic have not changed and will not change. Anime characters are not real people like child actors. I, however, definitely understand and respect the discomfort some people feel about it. I have my own discomfort regarding problematic things in anime, but I would never accept people harassing others over anime characters. Everybody should just use their common sense when it comes to these situations and make their judgment based on each individual case. The problem with the whole situation is the trust these people have in each other. They make call-out posts and their oomphs, one of my followers, trust them blindly without attempting to look further into the situation themselves. The accusations were all lies, and as I mentioned, me defending Weng Weng is something I still stand by. By the way, I'm still getting hateful messages from people saying stuff like deactivate, or just people attacking my character based on my art. They stalk my account from alternate accounts, even after I've blocked them. They lurk in my account, then get offended by my opinions on fictional characters. They don't care about being good people. They simply don't like that a pairing or someone they hate is getting attention and they're not. Look at the amount of likes and reshares. Read the replies and you'll understand what I mean. This was never about pro-shipping. They just dislike the content I make and me. So they make up excuses to be mad. It's something every artist I know suffers from. Even when I try to talk about something serious or meaningful, there will always be someone unwanted lurking in my account, waiting to get mad at me. It's crazy. Also, notice the way they take my tweets so personally. It's either insecurity or they feel targeted by me, which is never what I intend, unless they are the people who do the stuff I mention in my tweets. That's the statement Columbo had for this video, and honestly, this really upsets me. There are so many people still blinded by the false allegations who are still attacking him, and so many people who just hate on him because he draws art of a ship they don't like. It's very upsetting. Even if Columbo was guilty, which he is not, why would you go out and harass him? That would make you no better than him. You're not a good person just because you're harassing or sending death threats to someone who's been deemed to be bad. If you're harassing Columbo, what are you trying to accomplish? What's the point? Why do you hate him so much that you'd act like this? I don't get it. What did Columbo ever do to deserve this harassment? What did Columbo do to deserve such flimsy and damaging allegations made against him? What did Columbo do to deserve any of this? The answer is nothing. Columbo didn't do anything wrong. He never did anything of what he was accused of, and he does not deserve any of the harassment he's received. Harassment based on false allegations. This situation was ridiculous and taken way out of proportion by everyone involved, except for Columbo. If you created and spread these false allegations, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. And if saying that causes me to lose friends on Twitter, then I don't care. I would rather realize my wrongs and move on to believe the unpopular opinion than keep friends who are liars that spread false allegations. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I made a Twitter thread debunking the allegations about a day or so after they were first made, but it received very little attention, which is not good because this situation needs far more attention. Columbo deserves justice for what happened to him, and those who created and spread the false allegations need to apologize to him directly. They owe it to him. Anyways, that will be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and were able to see why all the allegations against Columbo held little to no water. If you could, please share this video so that people who were involved might see it. It would mean a lot. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.